welcome to the glory steps. He chased everything and caught nothing, until one single lesson taught him the secret of success. This is the story of how focus turned a failure into a legend. In a land where mountains rose like giants and the forest spread as far as the eye could see, there lived a boy who wanted nothing more than to be a great hunter. From the day he could walk, he dreamed of returning from the forest with food for his people, of hearing his name spoken with respect, of feeling pride instead of shame. He carried a bow, his quiver always full, and he had the strength of youth in his arms. To anyone watching, he looked ready to succeed, but appearances deceive. Time after time, when he stepped into the forest, his focus shattered. A rabbit would dart across his path and he would run after it. But before he could get close, the beating of wings would distract him, and he'd shoot at a bird instead. Then, while his attention was scattered, a deer would vanish silently into the shadows. And so, each day ended the same. Empty-handed, ashamed. When he returned to the village, people laughed. First softly, then boldly. A hunter who chases everything catches nothing. The words stung. They stayed with him long after the laughter faded. At night, when the fires dimmed and he lay awake, those words echoed louder than the howls of wolves. Was it true? Was he destined to fail? He wasn't weak. He wasn't cowardly. And yet, he had nothing to show for it. The weight of failure grew heavier with each attempt until even his bow seemed heavier in his hands. One evening, when the shame was too much to bear, he sat alone by the fire. His bow rested across his knees, his head hung low, his eyes burning with the sting of unshed tears. That's when an old man approached, the elder hunter. His beard was white as mountain snow, his skin wrinkled by time, his back bent, but his eyes, steady and piercing, still burned like fire. He had hunted long before the boy was born, and though age had slowed his body, wisdom radiated from his presence. The old man lowered himself onto the log beside the boy. For a long time, he said nothing. The fire cracked and hissed, filling the silence. Then finally he spoke, his voice deep, steady, and calm. You fail not because you are weak. You fail because your eyes wander. A hunter who aims at everything hits nothing, but one who fixes his gaze on a single target never misses. And just like that, he rose, leaning on his staff, and walked away. The boy sat frozen, the words sinking deep into him. That night, as the village slept, those words echoed in his mind again and again. Aim at one, hit one. Could it really be that simple? When dawn came, the boy rose before anyone else. The forest loomed ahead, its mist curling like smoke between the trees. The air smelled of damp earth, moss, and pine. This time, he stepped into the forest with something new. Resolve. The sounds tempted him immediately. The flutter of wings above, the scamper of paws nearby, the crack of twigs in the undergrowth. His heart raced. His instinct screamed to chase, but he stopped. No, he whispered. Not this time. He walked deeper, slower, more deliberately than ever before. The forest, alive and wild, seemed to test him at every step. A rabbit darted across his path and he resisted. A bird swooped so low he could almost touch its wings. He let it pass. Each distraction was a battle, each temptation a storm. But he stood firm. Hours passed. Hunger clawed at his stomach. Doubt whispered again, "You will fail. You will return empty-handed as always." And then he saw it. A deer, graceful, tall, its ears flicked, its muscles tense, its nose testing the wind. The boy crouched, his breath slowed, his fingers tightened on the bowstring. Everything else faded. No birds, no rabbits, no whispers of doubt. Only the deer. He waited, steady, patient. The forest seemed to hold its breath with him. The deer lifted its head, and in that heartbeat, he released. The arrow sang through the air and struck true. For a moment, the boy could not move, could not breathe. Then, with trembling steps, he approached. The deer lay still, his first true victory. He had done it, not by strength, not by luck, but by focus. That evening, he returned to the village carrying food. The same villagers who had mocked him now stared in silence. Their laughter was gone. Respect filled their eyes. "How did you succeed?" they asked. The boy's voice was steady, his words simple. "I stopped chasing everything. I chose one goal and gave it all my strength." From that day, the forest became more than a place of survival. It became his teacher. At first, his discipline wavered. His eyes still flicked to birds. His ears still perked at rustles. But each time, he pulled himself back. He remembered the elders' words. He remembered the deer. Each hunt taught him patience. Each success taught him control. He began to see what he had never seen before. The strongest trees were not the tallest, but the ones that endured storm after storm, standing firm when others fell. The river did not carve valleys through sudden violence, but through steady, relentless flow. Even fire, wild and dangerous, only gave life when contained and directed. Focus, he realized, was nature's greatest power. Weeks turned into months. The boy no longer returned empty-handed. His arrows struck true, not because his arms grew stronger, but because his mind grew sharper. He became known not as the boy who failed, but as the hunter who never missed. But he did not become proud, because deep inside he knew his real victory was not the deer, nor the food, nor the respect. His real victory was mastery over himself. Years passed. His hair darkened with streaks of gray. His shoulders carried the weight of experience. One evening, he sat once more by the fire. But this time, younger hunters gathered around him. Their eyes were eager, restless, burning with the same hunger he once had. "Tell us," they asked. "What is the secret? Is it strength? Is it speed? Is it cleverness?" The hunter looked into the flames, their light dancing in his weathered eyes. He smiled gently, and when he spoke, his voice carried the calm certainty of truth. "No, strength without focus is wasted. Speed without focus is reckless. Cleverness without focus is scattered. But focus turns weakness into strength, failure into victory, and effort into success." The fire crackled. The younger hunters leaned closer, hanging on every word, and in their eyes, he saw himself, the boy who once chased everything and caught nothing. But now he was something more. Now, he was living proof of what discipline could achieve. So remember this. Discipline is not chasing every path. It is choosing one and walking it with all your heart. Focus turns effort into success, and patience makes that success endure. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to subscribe to The Glory Steps, where every story brings you closer to your best self. One story, one lesson, one focus at a time.